What?
It's time now for My Two Favorite Librarians, brought to you by the Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.
Hi, this is My Two Favorite Librarians. I'm Denise Corey.
I'm Chantel Taylor, and today we're talking about mental health.
Before we start, though, I want to talk about book club. So we're going to try again. Book club did not happen in September. Things kind of went to HE double hockey sticks. Can I say that?
I don't know.
Okay. If not, Ron will cut it out.
It all went sideways.
It went sideways. It went pear-shaped. I like that expression. So on October 26th,
yes,
thank you, we are going to do a Zoom book club, and it's going to be Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yes.
Which I read in my 20s for a women's literature course, and I don't think I've read it again. So this should be interesting.
I've never read it, and I think I'm going to read it and not listen to it because I feel like it may be something that needs to be read. But I don't know, I may change my mind.
Maybe I'll listen to it this time. So you can get copies. We have paper copies, but there are also copies of it on Hoopla. And there is audiobook on Hoopla, and there is ebook on Hoopla.
And Hoopla is unlimited, so as many people as we want can check out
Yes.
the same copy of a book. There's numerous copies of Frankenstein.
Yes, yeah. Just to have to
different editions, I guess you should say.
You have to be careful to make sure it's the Mary Shelley Frankenstein. So, yes, to register, you're going to email information@cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca. On the day of the book club, we will send out the Zoom link for all of the people who are registered. Fingers crossed everything goes well.
Yeah, who knows what October could bring.
Oh, my goodness. I am not sure. Okay, so now I'm ready to talk about mental health.
So Denise gives me a list of topics we're going to cover. She goes in January and she's like, yeah, these are the topics we're going to cover. So I don't know what she wants with these things when she gives them to me.
So sometimes we come up with different ideas of the same thing.
Yes.
I think that makes it interesting.
Yeah, except you were like belittling me for my choices earlier in the day.
I was not belittling you.
Yes, you were.
I was talking about how
I was wrong and I'd not done it correctly.
You should know that everything I do is right. So that is the difference. No. In seriousness, though, talking about mental health is hard.
It is.
There's
it's a very separate from health, which it shouldn't be, but also very stigmatized that people don't want to mention any issues.
Yeah. And this year has not been particularly kind to people's mental health.
To anybody's mental health.
Yeah, especially when you've been, people have been isolated and they can't see their loved ones and they can't, it's not a good year for...
Well, and the economy is collapsing, and Black Lives Matters, and the American election, and California is on fire, and we only made it a month longer this year for using our resources for the year. We made it into August instead of July because of the pandemic.
Let's not forget that Australia was on fire to start the year.
Yeah.
And that's been...
tornadoes.
I'm waiting for a Sharknado. I think it's going to happen. So mental health is hard this year, and it's harder than it has been in the past.
Also, just thinking about what I just said, I should clarify. When I say Black Lives Matters, I mean...
watching the systemic racism.
Yes, thank you. I was trying to think of a polite way to say it without...
That is both in the U.S. and Canada, and the unbelievable cruelty and terribleness of people.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Yeah, but usually, just expressing those things will set me off, yeah. So I have a mental health issue. I suffer from depression and anxiety, and I take medication for it, and the medication helps me a great deal, which is awesome, because otherwise, I don't know how I would function with my day. So it's hard to say these things to people because people get, weirded out about it. And it's like, well, this medication is no different than taking insulin if I was diabetic. Like, I need this medication. Everybody wants me to take it. It's important. So I know that before we have talked about some biographies of people with mental health issues, but today I'm going to talk about a couple of books that can help with mental health issues. And then I'm going to find out what Chantel is talking about. So these are just a few of the ones that we have. We have a lot. So we have a brand new book, Mind Kind, Your Child's Mental Health. And that one is to talk to parents and caregivers to help them connect with their children and support them towards positive mental health and well-being, which I think is important because, you see mental health issues in kids and not everybody knows how to approach that and have conversations around that.
I was going to let you finish before I jumped in. I stopped paying attention to you, honestly. Because I was looking at my notes thinking, did I write that book down? No, I'm good.
Yeah. You just had you had this weird expression on your face, so I wasn't sure.
Listening.
Oh, okay. Do you want to go back and forth, or do you want to just, I don't know how much people want to listen to my voice.
Well, it's been 2 weeks, so they may be quite
They've forgotten.
enraptured that you're back.
They've forgotten how irritating I sound. I can't listen to me on the radio. I listened to you and Adam, and I worried that my job was going to go away because Adam sounds really good.
Yeah, Adam and I don't bicker banter like you and I do.
Because we're bickery. So another new book that we have is Bipolar Disorder, The Ultimate Guide. And this is by Sarah Owen and Amanda Saunders. And it talks about how to recognize the symptoms, how to talk to a child when their parent has been diagnosed, and things that, if you're a person who is living with bipolar disorder, if you're a person who's been recently diagnosed, if you have a loved one who is living with bipolar disorder, then this book can help you understand what is happening. We also have lots of books about so we have a book called Happiness the Mindful Way. And it's a step-by-step guide to help focus your mind, improve your performance, and be happy. And it has tips on coping with anxiety, breaking bad habits, and even just, the anxiety of making a speech in front of a crowd. It gives you tips on how to be mindful, how to breathe, how to prepare yourself for things like that cause you stress. And we have a 2018 book called The 10 Best Anxiety Busters, which has breathing exercises, relaxation practices, self-talk, which I'm not really good at. I'm not one of those people that can look in the mirror and say positive things. And it also, that one has little infographics and stuff, so it's not a lot of text. It's also got some images to help guide you through.
Are you finished?
Are you going to bicker with me?
So, I had no idea
what I was talking about?
Well, yeah.
Because I don't give you...
I said that right off the top.
Yeah.
We have no idea. I have no idea what you're saying when you do these.
It's literally just 2 words. All right, this is what we're talking about.
So I was really overwhelmed because I thought, well, there's a lot of things about mental health. Does that include self-help books? Does that include how-to books? Does that include it's really, you could consider a lot of memoirs. I read a couple of articles about 12 books that saved my mental health, and there was fiction, and there was there was all sorts of things. And Denise was like, no, just books about mental health. Well, Denise, you just described books because I was like, well, what about how to meditate? Because next week we're talking about how-to books. And I was like, these are really similar topics. And she's like, no, they're completely different. I was like, no, they're not. So you can have
That is
books.
literally every conversation we have. Except that what you can't see is Chantel rolling her eyes at me. Literally every conversation.
So you can have books, as Denise described, which have a very specific, like, mental health issue to help you cope or to give you new language or to, like, you know, sort of give you a guide. But you can also have, like, memoirs where people are talking about how an issue helped them or how they help. A lot of comedians have depression and anxiety. It's one of the reasons that they're so funny.
It's true, yeah.
A lot of comedians.
Yeah.
The Bell Jar.
Oh. That's a hard book to read.
It is a hard book to read, but maybe if you're at the right age and you read that book, you could identify, oh, wait, those are things that I'm experiencing right now.
And that book is technically fiction?
Yes.
But we all know that it's thinly veiled portrayal of Sylvia Plath.
Fiction, because again, you may read a fiction book. One of the books I have on my list for kids, because I'm trying to focus more on kids' books, is The War That Saved My Life, which is about a young girl and her brother who are sent out of London during the Blitz. So you have a child who has a physical disability that's been abused by her mother. She has like a club foot and she's been locked in her apartment, so she's not gone to school. She escapes to go out to get with these other, to get out of her apartment, to get out of London. She's got to meet new people. She's got to go to a new place. She's got to suddenly deal with people who are like, wait a minute, we can do something about your foot. Like, it's not this thing that will stop you from going out into the world. So she's got all these issues to deal with, which could be a really great book for kids to read about if they're dealing with anxiety, like going to school in the middle of a pandemic. Those are hard things to do. So there's a lot of books that could help that maybe specifically aren't mental health books.
No, that's true. Yeah.
So, like, I was really overwhelmed by the choices.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming because in terms of self-care for me, I read a lot of fiction. I like to escape.
One of the romances, it's one of the reasons I read romance, because I don't want to read about things that are actually happening.
No. And yeah, and you like to read historical romance because it's really far from what is happening currently in the world.
So one of the things I thought about when I was doing this was things that people can do for themselves to perhaps, I don't know, like I find sometimes when you're in therapy, like they're going to ask you to journal or they're going to ask you to like express yourself in some way. So like The Artist's Way by Julie Cameron is a classic book which sort of helps to enhance your creativity. So maybe that is something like maybe writing a book or starting to paint helps with your mental health.
Or hooking a rug.
Yeah, or knitting, or hiking, like taking a hiking book out and discovering a bunch of different parts of Nova Scotia or wherever. Like, there's so many ways you could go with mental health.
Yeah, and in addition to all of the books that I mentioned before, we also have, like books on exercise and breathing and
see, again,
yoga videos.
Those go into how to, which again we're talking about next week. So Brené Brown, who's a very famous sort of, I don't know what you'd call her. I've listened to her podcast a couple of times.
Like a life coach or an inspirational speaker.
It's beyond, like, I listen to stuff in relation to like working, like being a better boss, which can improve the mental health of me and the people that I work with. But she does have a podcast and we have a bunch of her books.
Oh, yes.
She's a very sort of, again, that falls into self-help. Does that count?
So a book that I recently read that was self-help did not help me at all. Did not like it even one little bit.
Oh, was it Girl Wash Your Face?
Girl Wash Your Face.
Yeah, we don't like her.
But
by we, I mean me.
The whole title is Girl, Wash Your Face. Stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you were meant to be by Rachel Hollis. I was very irritated with her throughout that whole book. But I also understand that, I mean, it's a huge bestseller, and a lot of people follow her blog and follow all of the things that she has set forth. So obviously it does
resonates with somebody.
It does resonate with other people.
The organizational craze that's happening right now, the home edit, Marie Kondo, again, that's something that could significantly elevate someone's mental health. Being able to get your life organized, or even getting a room of your house organized.
I love watching Marie Kondo, like the TV show on Netflix. I love watching it. I'm never going to do it.
No, it actually makes me cleaning makes me quite cranky. But
I found reading her book was like sitting inside somebody else's OCD. You know, she's so hyper organized, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. This is not happening. And then I did go through my closet, though, and get rid of a bunch of clothes.
I didn't.
And that was a couple of years ago, so it wasn't like during the pandemic.
So I do have a couple of other kids' books that I wanted to mention, just a few. These are for younger kids. I actually didn't look at any teen books, but In My Heart, A Book of Feelings by Joe Whittick. So this is a book, it's a board book, but it's not like a baby book. And it basically explores all of the feelings that you can have, which I think as a society we tend to focus on, like good feelings and bad feelings, and don't cry in public, and like boys don't have these feelings, and like blah, blah, blah. And so this sort of goes through with a little girl who's experiencing all of the feelings. And another one that I really liked is Tough Guys Have Feelings Too, which shows a lot of, I'm using my quotes that you can't see, tough guys in like having feelings in various sort of situations. So like a wrestler crying.
Do you think that The Rock has feelings?
Yes, I do. Everybody has feelings. It's just some people aren't allowed to express them.
I think The Rock probably expresses his feelings with
He ripped his door off the hinges the other day because his electronic gate got stuck, and he was like, people are waiting for me, so he just ripped it off the hinges and went to work.
I feel like that's a very specific reaction to a problem that most of us would not be able to do.
Yeah. He could have climbed the fence, maybe? No. I'm good.
Okay. What are you reading right now?
You know what? I forgot to write this down, what I'm reading now, which is really weird. What I am reading is Engagement and Espionage by Penny Reed, which is the Cletus and Jen spinoff from the Beard books. It finally came out an audiobook.
Oh, so it's their like sort of cozy mystery.
Exactly. And I have been trying to get into cozy mysteries in the last couple of months, and it's not going really well. I haven't found the cozy mystery series for me yet. I'm hoping...
I think it's because you listen to too much true crime. And so you're not good with cozy mysteries because you're listening to all this like murder.
I could have both in my life. Anyway, I'm hoping the world of Winston will like
improve
suck
your mental
me back
health
in.
Yeah, because
it always makes me happy.
You had a lot of problems reading, especially in the spring.
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, you're still not reading the way that you were.
No, and I'm also really focusing on audiobooks, which can be a problem because, again, maybe I should be reading a cozy mystery instead of listening to a cozy mystery. Maybe I would enjoy that better. Anyway, what are you reading?
I'm reading out loud Essays on Mental Illness, Stigma, and Recovery. And it's one that I borrowed through Overdrive. And it was published by Breakwater Books. So that's a Newfoundland publisher. So these stories are all set in Newfoundland. They're just really short essays, by people affected by mental health issues, and it's a variety of people. It's people who are living with mental health issues. It's people whose loved ones are living with mental health issues. It's people who work in the field of mental health. So it's interesting, but it's a super fast read because most of the essays are only a couple pages long. And so it's, nice to get different perspectives. I have finished 72 books this year.
Nice.
And 41 of the 50 Pop Sugar reading challenges.
Very nice.
So I'm hoping to finish Pop Sugar this year. It might or might not happen. And we'll see. I'm working on it. So, library stuff.
Make it quick.
All right. We have expanded hours in Advocate, Amherst, Parsboro, Pugwash, and Spring Hill. Oxford is still a satellite location. It's at the medical center. It is offering grab and go only. There's no books there. You have to order them. You can either call the Oxford Library or you can place your hold online or you can email and we will put holds there for you that you can pick up. And you can check our website and our social media for our new hours and other resources. What is our website?
www.cumberlandpubliclibraries.ca.
And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I'm doing a special Halloween movie special where every day I'm posting 1 or 2. I have a few extra movies. Family friendly and some not so family friendly. Choices leading up to Halloween.
Excellent. And next week, as you already mentioned,
How to.
Bye.
My 2 favorite librarians. Brought to you by the Copper Tree Boutique in Dales Grand Market, located in beautiful, historic downtown Amherst.